Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, Mega Mike Graham. He's the founder of a music festival. He's in a band, a brand new one, and he's in an older band too. He's also on the radio. Let's get into it now with Mega Mike Graham. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about, and it's a podcast about what our guest is passionate about. I'm super excited this evening, today, whenever you're watching it. I'm super excited to welcome on Mega Mike Graham. And
See, that's where you need the reverb button, man, so you can
yeah, that's what I was thinking about, like a
Saturday.
Yeah, Mega Mike Graham. Yeah, exactly.
Happy to be here, brother. Thanks.
Oh, man. And you just heard the cat meowing. Hopefully my advanced AI audio software will pinpoint cat meows and remove them, If not, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell the good people. It was a rough start tonight.
What, you don't have a pre-programmed cat filter?
I gotta find one, I got to, and a dog filter too, because my dog runs into the camera every night as well, just because.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. So Mike he's a multifaceted, awesome dude, and I'm not 100% sure where we're gonna start, except that we'll say he just finished hosting Summer Days. How long ago was that?
Like 3 weeks now. About 3 weeks ago. It was August 9th and 10th. It was our fifth festival we've held.
Wow, that's awesome. Which one was I a part of? I was in, I think, 2019.
You were actually technically you were at my second festival that we held, and that was the first official Whitewater Rocks under that new brand name show that we put on. Yeah, you guys debuted it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, you always have that, my friend, even with the rain delay.
Okay, well, yeah, and it was fun, and I want to come back and do it again next summer, so I'll bother you about that afterwards,
You're no bother, man. I'll always happily have some sorry at my festival. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, man, and I just loved seeing the pictures of all those bands, the people that I know you love too. I saw Winter and I saw Renaissance, and so many of those, Evil Creek, Beyond Driven. Who really stole the show for you this year? Was there any standouts? Was there any surprises?
Okay, you set me up, aren't you, man?
Yeah. That is a hard one.
No, everybody was awesome, but I can say the one that actually really blew me away, and I hate to immediately go to like a headliner, but Wild T, Tony Springer, who I hired because he does several different like types of shows, and I hired him as a Jimi Hendrix tribute. So I figured he's going to go up there for 90 minutes, give us pretty much Hendrix smash hits, a really wicked Voodoo Child, just give us the nice and happy, fun Hendrix catalog kind of thing. But what blew me away is he played for his 90 minutes, but I'd say only about maybe half of his set was Hendrix. He ventured into like blues classics at one point, and we were up there singing "Hot, Hot, Hot." He did some Bob Marley. We were all singing "Everybody Get Together, Gonna Feel All Right." And it was awesome, and it was totally unexpected, and that's what blew me away. And I was actually in the crowd for the last half of his set, because that was probably the first time through the entire weekend that I was able to go out and just be a spectator, be a partier and an enjoyer. And I was standing beside my buddy Stefan and my buddy Carrie, and they were just eyes closed, lost in the music. But every time Wild T and his band started a new tune, you didn't know where he was going to go, and that's blew me away. Like I bought one thing and I got something else, but I got more than what I expected.
Man, that is awesome. It's always good when the headliner pulls through, but when they pull through like that and they're like throwing knockout punches by the sound of it,
yeah, totally.
That's really exciting. And yeah, so Awesome. That's really good to hear. And 5 years, congratulations. And for anyone who doesn't understand how difficult it is to put on a festival, it's so hard. I don't understand. The only people who do are those that attempt this gauntlet. And
Good word.
we,
Good word.
yeah, we had JS on, uh, John Sebastian on from Cynical Sons not long ago, and he did a festival a year ago in Ottawa, and he was just saying, so ridiculously hard. But
Oh yeah.
I I mean, you always have the amenities, you have all the things. I've shown up to festivals and got there and it was like there was nothing, like there's a few hootenannies, there's a little bit of that going on, but I
Mhm.
mean, uh Lake Huron, calling I'm not calling you out Lake Huron, but I mean that was a bit crazy. Was it like that in the beginning? Was it very grassroots, or did you always want it to come across the way it does, which is very professional?
GoPro or go home kind of thing. Like we did one in 2017. This is when the I had the Tragic Clip radio station, Nothing But Grace Radio, which is still on the air. I'm just not actively doing shows on it anymore. But I thought, hey, let's get all these wonderful radio listeners together from like Ontario and beyond. Even a couple from the U.S. came down for it, and we're just running a whole little private festival. Asked somebody to use his hayfield. They said yes, and awesome people. And we went out and just partied. And I got a little tiny stage, and there was no fences, there was no security. There was porta potties. You got to put it somewhere. But yeah, exactly. There was a certain amount of organization, and I booked bands and stuff like that. We had a band from Nova Scotia play that year that just happened to be touring through, and we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. And once I did that, it was pretty much just like, okay, how much different, how much bigger do you need to go to make this thing public that people are going to look at it and actually show up and not think it's just going to be a couple of hay wagons, a couple of lawn lights vaulted up on like a few poles, and some rinky dink sound system kind of thing. And no, like I dropped the money, hired OSE every single year. That's Optimal Show Experience. I got to give a huge shout out to them because you're only as good as your stage. Like no offense to any of the bands on it. You can have a mediocre band on there, and if it sounds like crap, it's gonna sound like crap. But a mediocre band on a good sounding stage is still gonna sound like a good band. And you put
Yeah,
like a on fire on a stage where everything is dialed in, they can hear everything, and everything up front is beautiful. You know what that's
yeah.
like. But
I
yeah,
think it
it's
matters.
oh, it does.
And
It really is.
I really enjoyed my time on your stage. And you had like a backstage area, you had really great gear. I think more importantly than even the gear and the stage, which was beautiful, but what I think's even more is like you had people that really gave a damn. Working in
Hmm.
positions like sound man or backstage or stage management. I remember everybody really cared about what they were doing. And yeah, I think that's very important. And when I've been in other festivals that I thought were positive or good, that's a big similarity. That's a really big similarity. So
That's
I,
great to That is
yeah,
great to hear.
man,
Yeah, no, I do. I got an army of excellent people behind me that have been with me from the get go, and new ones being added on every year. I'm not even going to try to name the names because I'm going to forget somebody. You want to be thanked? Check my posts. You're there. Trust me. I made sure. I made sure. I keep track of everybody around me, but for me to try to bring it up now, but the people that come out because you know people just show up at the festival on the Friday and leave on the Sunday. That's their experience right there. I'm there for a good 3 to 5 days before that, orchestrating, getting fences put up, getting this on site, getting that on site, booking that, making sure you map it all out and da 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 da, and do it all by the book kind of thing. Like by the time the actual festival gets there, I'm ready to just keel over. Just kind of okay, I'm done. You guys have fun. I'll be over here dying. Like
wake me up when it's over.
just wake me up when I got to clean it up. Okay. But no,
Wow.
it's the build of it is insane, and like you said, the people behind it. Like yeah, I
Yeah.
I do a lot. I do a lot for it myself. I will openly admit, but the people behind it also do just as much as me, and are there, literally putting up the fences, hammering signs in. Like this past year, it was done at the White Pine Bison Farm, and I got to give a huge shout out to them because we hooked up with them, and they were just like, here's a 20-acre field. We'll do whatever you need. They cut an entranceway out of their bush for us. They totally orchestrated everything we were trying to achieve. Like they said, yep, we can help do this, we can do that, and from what I hear, they're on board for next year too. So it was a great location to work with. Like I said, White Pine Bison, absolutely awesome people, awesome company, and obviously I got to be able to have a place to put it on. We're still searching for our own place. We were actually pretty close right before COVID hit, and of actually buying like 80, 90 acres and just building a permanent space where we can literally just start putting stuff on every weekend if we wanted to, or whatever level that we can kind of bring that kind of thing too.
Gosh, that'd be awesome. That'd be so cool to have like a home base, but like that's so great that White Pine Bison that they came
Yeah.
through like that.
Oh yeah, just awesome people.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, I'm thrilled that I saw that it went off awesome. That again, it's getting bigger, and I'm glad that you did not give up, and that you're a great founder, and people
Thanks, man.
appreciate you, man. Like they really do. So I want to go back in time, and and
Is it did that?
well that yeah. Let's
Sorry,
go.
I see it beside my head each time. I didn't actually position it exactly where I wanted it.
Yeah.
We on our
Well,
first attempt, I look behind me. I'm just kind of there's a poster there. I'm like, I can dress this up a little.
yeah, it's fun, right?
Exactly.
I mean, before I saw like you had a whole bunch of CDs behind you and whatnot, and like I tried to dress it up. I tried to put the records up, but
Oh, dude, I noticed in every single one of your broadcasts. I'm okay. He changed that one. He added that. He was just.
sometimes I mess with it just a little bit for
Oh,
fun.
exactly.
Just oh yeah, why not?
Make
But
it fun.
yeah, back in time, were you born in Oakville?
Technically, I was born in Ottawa.
Oh,
Yeah, I was born in Ottawa, and then I was adopted and was taken to Oakville,
oh
and
wow,
then
I didn't know that.
and then I moved back to Ottawa in 1999, the 2 days before Woodstock '99, because I spent my first 4 days just sitting in front of the TV watching Woodstock '99, changing VCR tapes, like, and not sleeping for probably 72 hours or so.
Oh wow, that is
Yeah,
not
so,
fun.
but yeah, growing up in Oakville was cool, man. Being in the GTA, um, I saw a lot of shows, Like I lost count, but definitely over 200 shows in my repertoire of what I've seen, and a lot of classic cool stuff that helped form my love of music. And went to festivals and things like that, like Lollapalooza '96 in Barrie. I went to just and to see the grandness of like I'd been to the venue. It was Molson Park in Barrie, and I've been to the venue before, but never to see like with all the circus tents and the freaks and the unique acts and all that stuff. Just the whole kind of circus atmosphere they had around Lollapalooza. And this was after, unfortunately, this was '96. Once it had been bought out and it got pretty much gone corporate, so it didn't have the original energy they started with. But it was still cool. Like, come on, the lineup was Metallica, Soundgarden, the Ramones, some band called Psychotica, and probably about a half a dozen others. But those are the main ones I remember. But seeing Soundgarden and Metallica on the same bill was just like,
Hell
yeah,
yes.
I saw stuff like that and thought I want to do this. Even way back then, I like. Well, I was only maybe about 10 years before that, but still, it was just like wow.
Yeah. Powerful music during that time, 100%. And I mean, so I just want to go back for a second. So you said you're adopted.
Mhm.
Were you adopted like as a baby?
Yeah, at birth.
Okay. All right. I had John Ryu on not long ago, and he's a vocalist for a Pantera tribute act. And
Nice.
yeah, he's great, amazing. And he's also adopted.
Oh,
So
yes, too.
yeah. It's an interesting thing with some musicians for sure, I think, and with artists for absolutely. So when did you find out? When did your folks tell you like you were adopted?
Probably like 17, 18, something like that.
did that mess with you at that point?
No, not really. Didn't really hit me that hard. Like, I went and registered, and just like looking and blah 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 blah, and eventually did find my birth mother and my birth father, and had a limited relationship with birth mother, and never met birth father. He was one of these just kind of like, yeah, nice. Nice to know you're okay. Nice to know you exist, but I want nothing to do with you. And that was my attitude going in. It was just like, if they don't want nothing to do with me, then I'm good. Life goes on. I know who raised me, so
Yeah. Well, I
I know
mean
who
that
dad are.
it must mean that like your adoptive parents were good parents then, hopefully.
Oh
They
yeah,
filled
oh yeah.
that void.
I
They filled
came
that.
from teachers.
Okay, good. Okay. So I mean that's why you had that love inside of you. So it was like whatever. I don't need your love. I'm reaching out. I'm seeing what's out there.
Oh yeah, honestly, to me, it was a medical thing because I wanted to
Yes.
know if there's anything I should be looking out for, and obviously there's some curiosity,
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
blood relatives and stuff like that floating around. Like, something I learned early on was, just because you're a relative or you share a bloodline or whatever, doesn't mean I have to like you, or even if you're a good person or anything. Just because we're related doesn't mean, you know, it's the people that care about me, the people I care for, they're the ones that mean everything to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I remember my friend's dad getting really mad at my friend one time and being like, I love you, but I don't like you. Like I don't
Yeah,
and I don't have to like you, but I
yes,
wish I did, and I just remember thinking, "Oh, that's harsh." It's true sometimes. Sometimes
oh yeah,
family can really push that line, you know?
oh yeah.
Uh Oh, well, that's good to know that it's a very cool story for you in that regard. And so I want to know about the first music that you heard that you can remember that was popular.
I know it exactly. This is probably 13, maybe 14 years old. So we're back in like, like we're like 83, 84. So
Okay.
we're back in the realms of like audio tapes and stuff. And the hit explosions in 1981 or the hot hits 1983, like compilations and stuff. I remember physically going and buying a tape to get Eye of the Tiger, Survivor. Um, and I also remember being really annoyed that a Sheila E. song called "Let's Hear It for the Boy" was right before it on the tape. So I'd listen to Eye of the Tiger and I'd rewind it again, and I'd always have to listen to the last 20 seconds of that damn Sheila E. song, and it always pissed me off. And I just hated that song to this day because it made me wait to hear Eye of the Tiger again.
Man, that Rocky soundtrack is just so good. Like
Oh, I know.
I still listen to I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like one of the songs towards the end where it's like, yeah, he's coming back. It was hard, but here he comes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like it's I do it. I listen to it to get pumped and hyped up still. Absolutely. Rocky was good stuff and the music
Oh, yeah.
was hype and tapes. I remember tapes. I'm old enough for it. And like my mom had a very big collection of tapes. And I remember, having to stick my finger in and rewinding the tape back
Yeah.
in. And yeah, how annoying it was that you had to rewind and fast forward and then you could fast forward past where you wanted to go and go back, go forward. It was like so frustrating. Uh and in a way, like when I played a record later, I was like, I think I'd prefer the record. Like even to this day, like I'm pretty sure I prefer a record to a tape.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't think it's much of an upgrade, if any, but
No, well,
just
that's
smaller.
that's a can of worms discussion right there. The
Yeah, I
whole
guess.
vinyl versus, well, tape is still technically analog, so we're not even approaching the analog to digital kind of thing. But no, vinyl is just sonically it's warmer. It sounds
Yeah,
like the band is sitting in the room playing to you. You
yeah,
know, digital nowadays can sound as good as vinyl. They've got a technology to that level kind of thing. But when CDs first came out, it was like, wow, look, let's listen to Stairway to Heaven with no hiss, or everything's so clean, no pops, no skips, no buzzes or anything. But the dryness, it killed a lot of the music. where you pop on a vinyl now, and like I'm sitting in a room with probably 1,200 freaking records. So like I pop on one of those puppies, and it's just like warmth, just complete warmth. Oh,
Yeah.
and also now I took I inherited a turntable from I'm going to screw this up, my father-in-law. Okay, no, I got it right. Hey, good. From my father-in-law, and he was a British audiophile, and like all the just ridiculously high-end type stuff. Like I've got a Thorens turntable in the house. I need to get a new needle for, and I looked it up on eBay, and it's from like 1973, and on eBay it's going for like $6,000 for a turntable. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I went over and just bought your basic Stanton for $300-400 over here. Hey, I got a really nice turntable. Check it out. It's
Yeah.
amazing, man. Meanwhile, I pop
Wow.
this thing on. I'm listening to my records for the first time ever. But yeah, no, it's whether you have a cheap turntable or high end stuff. Like vinyl just has that warmth, and the visuals, like that's the one thing I'm sure because I know you got to experience that because Tammy Sorry has put out what, one or two vinyls.
It keeps coming up. Um, when I speak to people about music, releasing music, one of the topics and items that keeps coming up is, of course, two debates. One is the singles versus album.
Yep.
What should bands do? And the other one is how do you hard copy release things today? And what people miss, and the common thing that people miss over and over again, what I've heard now, is liner notes. Liner notes, lyrics, liner notes, bonus pictures that you don't get anywhere else.
Yep.
Things that you get when you're a fan. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, those tangible things. People miss it. And it's weird because some of the younger guests who have come on and never experienced it or never experienced like MTV Much Music era music
Mm-hmm.
videos, they don't correlate it with music. It's very interesting. Like talking to some people, like I'll be like, "So you're gonna make a music video?" And they're a young band, and they're like, "No, I don't think so. It's not that big of a thing, you know." And I'm like, "What?" Like it's like one of my
Thank
favorite
you.
things to do.
Yeah, me too.
Like it's absolutely so much fun, and to try and connect further artistically with your fans, and often that's how you make them a fan.
Well, that's one thing
So
I can say flat out, and I've always admired with you guys is so much effort and thought was put into the music videos. Like you pick the best songs off the album to do. Because some songs, you think like, okay, I'd love to make a video, but we don't have $500,000. Okay, so we're not gonna do that song. Let's do this one. Like the whole like was it Down with the Devil? You did the whole Mad Max thing, or maybe
no, that was Wake Up Boy.
Wake
Wake
Up
Up
Boy. Yeah,
Boy. We did
yeah,
the Mad Max.
yeah,
Down with the Devil. We did like we were in a newspaper
yeah,
room.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
all. That's all we did.
A
Nothing
whole bunch of
special
projections
really.
and stuff
But
like that.
it was the birth of it, and honestly, I was very lucky because, well, we were all lucky because we all wanted to do it, and then I had crazy ideas. And every band knows, like if someone's a writer or whatever, when they write a song and they're like, I don't know, this idea, it might be out there, maybe it's way, but then people give you a chance. And yeah, so they gave me a very big chance, let me be a big part of it. And I got to create and create and create, and it was so much fun.
Oh yeah,
It's like improv club, if anyone's ever done it.
yeah.
You go in there, you have a wacky idea. If somebody says no, the improv's over. So like it's just a big part of music videos is people saying, why not? Why not try it? Why not
Yeah.
go for it? And like Wake Up Boy, it was a field across from where we jammed. And every day when I left, I drove by it and I went, that junkyard is incredible. And I saw all the scenes. I saw the scenes right
Nice.
there. And I was like, went back and I told the guys, I said, guys, you have to come with me into this freaking field and I want to show you my idea. And they humored me and they let me go nuts. And so kudos to them. And then we brought out the video guy, and kudos to him because we didn't give him a script. We didn't give him like a storyboard. It was
Just
like,
keep,
and
just start filming, man. Just start filming.
I was just like, you come with me. I'm gonna take you around the field, and I'm gonna tell you like my wacky idea. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then he helped think of the intro and the outro. And I remember saying to him, I really want the motorbike to go right at Mig, and then I want the rabbit to disappear, and then I want the rabbit to reappear and smash him in the back of the head. Can you do that? And he's like, sure, why not? And I was like, you are my guy, Dom. This is why you are. And we've always done our videos with them, like all of them, because that moment I knew, okay, he's my rodeo camera guy.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
ready to go. And he knows too, like when we did the pirate ship, like he showed up and like he wasn't expecting a script or anything. He was like, all right, what's the plan today? What are we doing on the pirate boat? And he
That
brought
was
drones.
insane. You
It's
get, I gotta say, as you guys make the videos, it just do you literally look back at the last one and go, okay, how can we outdo that one? How much
Yes,
further can we push it
definitely.
this time? Because it shows.
Absolutely.
It
It,
totally shows.
it's a lot of fun. So I want to pick your brain about bands. So when was your first band that you joined?
Very, 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 very late in life. I bought a guitar at 15. Still have it. A Hondo Les Paul, covered in stickers, several chunks out of it. Basically learned. I took guitar lessons for probably 2, 3 years, but was pretty lazy about it. I could basically play a bunch of cover riffs and stuff like that, but never joined a band. And then actually, after I moved to the Ottawa Valley in let's see, I moved to Ottawa in '99, Ottawa Valley, yeah, in 2000 or 2001. Um, my wife Joanne, was finishing her GED at the time at a local school, and we had met somebody locally here that was her ride, going in and out each day. And in her chatting with him, he mentioned he played guitar, and he came over, and I could play. I could be a really bad drummer, so I'd hop on the drums, and he'd play guitar. We did that for probably 2 years, 3 years, and then just started forming, and we formed AM Radio, um, and learned a valuable lesson. We were a band for probably 3 years, recorded one album, full 12 songs, all of our own stuff. We're still proud of it, but learned a valuable lesson. Don't buy 1,000 CDs on your first album.
Just don't buy 1,000 CDs, folks. Not
Exactly.
anymore. I bet you when you did it, it was closer to that time. Nowadays, I just wouldn't advise it. Like selling
Yeah.
hard copies is not easy these days. For a lot of people, unless you're like that big name band that you're going to see and people
Yeah.
want to.
Exactly.
I've told this story before. Like, yeah, I played in a festival, like one band removed from Crownlands. And was it epic? Oh, absolutely it was.
Yeah. Of
But
course.
but at the end of the night, we sold 9 vinyls and they sold 5 boxes full. So you know what I mean? And they were
Yeah.
sold out. Like they were just like, sorry folks,
Yeah.
all
We're all out.
gone.
All out.
And I
Thanks
couldn't
for coming.
believe it, like just the way
Yeah.
it went. It was gone. And I was standing there like, we still have a few hundred copies over here if anyone would like
Yeah.
one. And
You're
like
feeling. You're feeling like Oliver over there. Go, please, sir, buy my record, please, sir.
oh yes, it's like take a free button, take a free sticker, whatever you need, but but
Well,
but
wash your
please.
car.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll watch the kids, we'll do anything. Oh man. But yeah, hard copies, it's one of those things people debate and how to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And what are your thoughts on singles versus albums? Is it just like a money thing?
Huh.
Is that pretty much what it's now become? Is we can't.
Well, we know from the get go, if being in an indie band, that break even is about as lucky as you're going to get in most cases. If you actually want to put it all on paper and add it all up with the buying gear, gas, time, hydro, blah 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 blah.
Oh
But
yeah.
to have that physical album in your hand, because as like any band, when any band starts and reaches that first album, when you crack that box open and take that album out and put it in your hand for the first time, whether you got 1,000 copies or 100 copies, kind of thing, that's a whole different feeling than just saying, "Here, distro kid, here's my thing, go."
Yeah.
And yeah, you got some visuals online. You make really cool visuals. You have a video behind it and everything like that. But having a physical copy still goes back to like just record stores. And I'm talking, the record stores that have reemerged actually due to the vinyl coming back and stuff like that. But I grew up on real like mom and pop independent record stores. You'd go cruise down Queen Street or Bloor or like multiple streets in Toronto. I'd take like $500 and go downtown and come back after hitting all these tiny hole in the wall record stores and getting the most amazing things like imports from here or bootlegs from there or the rare copy of this blah 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 blah. I wasn't going to A&A Records and Tapes or HMV or anything like that. I was hitting Record Runner and things like that, going in and buying a copy of and don't hold this against me, Body Count Cop Killer CD, because it was already banned at the time when I bought it, so I had to pay about $70 to buy the damn thing, but they were selling them under the counter and I wanted one. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a whole different feeling to have something in your hand and to be able to add it to your collection, put it with all the other CDs and stuff like you have your favorite indie band sitting next to a Black Sabbath CD. That's to me that's music
Yeah.
versus just putting something out and not having anything tangible to. And I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, the tangible thing is the music itself, and it is, but we're musicians put out products. Our songs are products. We're trying to sell them to you at least enough so you come back and see us again, or we're trying to sell them to you paying 99 cents online or $20 a CD or something like that or whatever a vinyl. We may be purists at heart, putting out music because we love doing it, and we know
Yeah.
damn well we're not going to get rich doing it. But to me, you don't have a catalog when you just put out singles. But to me, that's not a catalog. A
Yeah.
catalog is album.
Yeah.
Like Blackwater Brigade, formed in 2017. It's 2024 now. We put out an album last year, and it was our third one. We've never released a single. We just put out albums. The first album we put out, we actually put it out on vinyl. We shelled out the $3,000 to get like 300 of these things pressed.
Yep.
And yeah, we're probably still sitting on 100 of them, 8 years later or 7 years later, but still, we did it. And like you mentioned about liner notes and extra pictures and stuff like that, like I designed and did the layouts for the entire album, and I love doing that. And we cracked that box open and looked out. There's a video on YouTube of us doing our box cracking and seeing the album for the first time, and just even when I pick it up now, I actually picked one up and put it back in my shelf earlier tonight. I still stop and look at it and just go, yeah. Or like the picture on my wall that I have a picture. We did an acoustic thing, opening for Jeff Martin at Arnprior at the John Street Pub and it's just like you mentioned with Crown Lands before. Many bands in Arnprior and Ottawa went and opened for Jeff Martin at the John Street Pub because he played there about 4 times a year, and there was usually three of us opening for him. But
Yeah.
we got a picture of him with me and my buddy Jay sitting on either side of Jeff Martin, and Jeff Martin's holding our album. And I love that picture. I absolutely love that picture. And the cooler part is an older buddy from the States of mine named Scott printed out that picture, the one I put online, went into a Jeff Martin signing, and got the picture signed for me and gave it to me. So it's like, okay, so I have a picture of me meeting Jeff Martin signed by Jeff Martin.
Now you need to get a picture of you holding that picture and then get that put on a shirt and then a picture of that and a picture of that every year, and it will become like an insane never-ending mirror into Jeff Martin.
Exactly. Every time I go near the guy, it's just, fuck this guy again.
Oh my gosh. I saw him singing a video of him singing recently, and he was singing Space Oddity. He was doing David Bowie.
Yep.
And then I saw like he does whole tours based on this. Like he'll go do like an entire David Bowie album
Mm-hmm.
as like kind of a tour. And I was like, that's so cool. That's so like I wouldn't think of that, but his voice suits it perfectly. It really does. Like the low end voice that he
Oh yeah.
has. It's like he has a special baritone to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, in his solo shows, he always does a few Zeppelin tunes. He'll pull out just like deep, dark, almost like deep South style blues with that really heavy guitar twang, and yeah, like you said, the baritone. He's Eddie Vedder, Jim Morrison. Like they have that just fullness
Yeah.
to their voice.
Yeah. So nice. And of course, you never question his artistry, especially when he's got the little bun up on top of his head and whatnot.
Yeah.
So sorry if you're watching, Jeff. I'm saying you're authentic. I'm saying you're authentic. Um, so you do a lot of like besides Blackwater Brigade, which people should definitely go check out. I saw that you're going to be doing a show September 14th, if I
Yep.
believe. And is it in Stoquaw Creek?
It's in Mixburg. Technically, it's just the other side of the 417 there.
Okay.
About 20 minutes from Pembroke, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know the origin of the name. It's pretty much my buddy's house. He holds barn jams there, and
Yes.
it's only this past summer actually they started opening them to the public. And it's usually like about 4 to 6 bands, all local indies, just setting up there. People come out, they have a good time, and yeah, we're playing that. That is Chi. That is our debut show.
Cool.
And yeah,
Chi.
just under 3 weeks.
Does the name have anything to do with like chi energy?
Oh, totally. Like
Okay.
my drummer Steve Anthony, who's heavy into martial arts. He named us. I was
Awesome.
we were talking. We were like, okay, we need a name. And he's just like Chi. I'm
Oh,
like, wow,
cool, man.
yeah, cool, yeah. So totally,
Awesome.
yeah. It seems. I explained this on one of my radio shows the other day, just off the top of my head. To me, it's like chi and music seem one and the same to me because my understanding of chi is like the centering of your energy and harnessing your energy, harnessing your chi, just like we do with music when we write. We're harnessing the music to put out the best thing we can. So, and comes under the classic thing of nice, short and sweet, easy to remember name.
Yeah. Yeah. Very memorable.
Yeah.
And I remember going into a drama class in theater school that was called Chi River. Okay.
Mm.
And when we go in, which is like, it was a made up course. Like the drama teacher made it up based on a whole bunch of stuff. But, anyways, when we went in there, she would always go, okay, everybody, gather. We're gonna gather. So if I was in chi, I'd be up on that stage going, gather, gather your chi. Just because it's like it's stuck in my mind now forever and ever that I gotta gather my chi and then present it and all that stuff. So you have the Blackwater Brigade, you have
Yep.
chi, and I also saw that you're a bassist and lead vocals in a band called Stone Skull.
That band, it never actually ended. It just
Okay.
pretty much it's been on hiatus for a very long time.
I hear you.
That that was me and my buddy Dave Trudell. He's a drummer, and basically I was on a bass and lead vocal, and it was what is that 2 piece band out of Britain there? Royal Blood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got heavily into Royal Blood when they first came out, and just was amazed with what this guy was doing with a bass. How he had it hooked up to a bass amp and an octave pedal, and a second run going to a guitar amp, and just innovative. And that I'm always impressed with anybody that can do something innovative with music. And it was two guys making a whole mess of sound, just a huge sound were coming out of these guys. So I was like, hey, we're gonna take the same approach. I watched a couple videos and it kind of stole his setup and adjusted it to my own thing, but we took more of a heavier like metal style approach to it, and just played around with it. Did some gigs. It was a very interesting band.
Is there any
You know,
recordings? Is there any music recorded?
nothing was ever recorded, but there
Oh,
is
that's
some
too bad.
live videos on YouTube.
Okay,
There's a
cool.
couple of live videos. So I had a tune in that one called "One Handed Massacre," and
Oh,
it was basically it was playing this whole song with one hand, just my left hand on the bass. I'd crank the gain up and turn about 4 distortion pedals on, so it was just a wall of almost like Cliff Burton, Anastasia pulling teeth kind of thing. And I just start doing this tapping, just kind of burning it, and just start walking down the neck, and then walk up the neck, and funky thing. You have enough distortion, you only got to hit the strings so much to get a sound out of them.
that's
And then
true.
the drummer was just going nuts behind me and stuff. And it was very experimental, just kind of like noise rock to a degree.
And what's Chi like in comparison to Blackwater Brigade, in your opinion?
Uh, so far, still rock,
Okay.
but definitely venturing into the My Morning Jacket, Floyd kind of realm at points. I use my organ pedal a lot more in Chi.
Ah.
So you get that nice, that nice bed in behind you because we are a three piece.
Hmm.
Um, and looking to incorporate some trigger pedals to be able to add some keys in and stuff like that because we don't want to restrict the sound to playing it exactly like the recording every single time. We want to have it loose and flowing. If we're feeling it and the audience is feeling it, we're going to turn a 4 minute song into a 17 minute epic, kind of thing, and just start jamming it out and throwing stuff around and this and that. But no, it's lighter. I'm playing songs with no distortion and just clean guitar in a lot of songs. But then there's some straightforward rockers. It's gonna have a range, but it's definitely gonna have like a rock slash trippy vibe.
Hmm. Yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So I want to ask you quickly about your shirt because Johnny No Cash, he's very cool, and I
Oh, I
personally,
love Johnny No Cash.
I'm a fan, but I've never got to really meet or like work with him yet, and I really do hope I get to do a show with Johnny No Cash one day. Have you seen him live? Did you meet him?
No, no, no. I've followed him. I got turned on to him because of Evil Creek,
Yeah.
and I think it was Cliff or Mark that turned me on to Johnny No Cash, and just immediately it's Southbound. Absolutely love that song. That song is just absolute, just pure, beautiful indie hard rock. And then pretty much listen to everything he put out, even that the album he did during COVID, pretty much all on his own. Watched his Van series and stuff, like his
Yeah.
whole thing. I love the guy's attitude, and he's a unique musician. He has there's I can't compare him. Well, actually, if I was going to compare, I'd say like you got part Johnny Cash in there. Obviously, he has that kind of thing, but it's like if you slam Johnny Cash into Lemmy or somebody like that, and you get Johnny No Cash because he has that Motorhead edge and angst and angriness in his delivery and stuff like that. But he also has a very fun, I don't give a fuck party attitude. Like in Southbound, I always comment about this. It has the best strategically placed single fuck in a song I've ever heard. Because they're going off and they're doing lyrics and just suddenly the background just hear fuck. Like, how do you come up with that? Just listening to it. That needs a fuck right there. Yeah, definitely a fuck right there. like, just,
Well,
just such a unique personality.
I really like the way you described the way you see that musical makeup and like the image and everything. I agree with you. Like he does have punk edge coming into his to that, and but also the rock and like you were saying the
Mhm.
Lemmy and all the different characters there, the influences that you can see and feel. So what would you consider the major influences on Mike Graham? What are the major musical
Oh wow,
influences on you? And I mean, that's why I'm not
that's a
saying
tough
one, but I mean, if you can pick out five, you know,
five. Okay, five. Well, five. I'd say five things that are still go tos to me. Like influences, I easily just off the top of my head, you've got Black Sabbath is a huge one because due to the diversity of their music.
yep.
A lot of people think Black Sabbath. Oh, it's just Paranoid. It's just War Pigs. It's like no, listen to Sabotage, man. listen to the rest of like Master Reality. Like it's more than that kind of thing. And it was well, still am a huge Metallica fan
Mm,
and have been for a very, very long time. But they're not. I don't listen to them anymore. I
mm,
honestly, I don't. If it comes on, I enjoy it, but I don't purposely. I won't put on a Metallica album. I'll still play Metallica songs on my radio show because I'm doing my radio show. But if I was somewhere, I won't purposely put on Metallica because I've listened to so much of it and I know it so well. Like I've seen them 19 times since 1989. Like it's the band I've seen the most times out of anybody, and I just keep going back and back and back because I know it's a killer show. But I've worn myself out of it. But beyond there, Neil Young throughout his entire career because I love that guy's diverse dynamic in his musical career. Ani DeFranco is a really high fave there because she's such a unique musician and changes album to album, song to song. Like It's all stuff like that. Pink Floyd,
Mm.
Deep Purple. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it is classic rock based, but I love Nine Inch Nails. I love KMFDM. I love Slayer. You know, it's a lot of these that if you can take all that and throw it into one pile, that's about where you'll find me.
Well, a lot of who you brought up are names that I'm consistently hearing on the podcast. And like
Good.
Metallica, yeah, Metallica over and over again. That one probably the most. Um, Black Sabbath for sure, and I think that they changed rock in a certain way that it's like if you don't acknowledge them and you're really big into classic rock, it's like I don't know, like they've really changed and put the focus on the minors and how you could make songs dark and yet energetic at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And like it was special, like what they were, everything, all the bands. Deep Purple again. I've got
Mm-hmm.
like two or three Deep Purple albums behind me, like their live versions and everything. Like
Oh, like Japan '72, man. Japan
exactly,
'72.
exactly.
Child in Time on there, just
Yeah,
just
man. And
master.
I totally get it what you're saying. Like you listen to a band so much, and then you either need new material or you kind of gotta go saturate something else because yeah, you learn the song to the point that the hooks are you're putting the hooks before the hooks come, so it's no longer
Oh, exactly. Or think about it, when you're trying to write some of your own stuff and you got this really cool idea and like, I don't know, you get to get about a quarter of the way and you're like, damn, I just wrote Enter Sandman again, or damn, I just wrote like way too close, way too close.
this is the ongoing problem for anybody trying to make rock music. And
Oh yeah.
but the truth is, it's a problem for anybody making any genre of music. It's just that rock was so popular. It was, so popular. But like when I'm looking at guitarists in the past, whatever it might have been, where I'm going for a guitar player for my band, as a vocalist, like my thoughts are like this. So I'm like, okay, I've had the producer tell me, Warren, the pressure's on you. And how much? How much pressure? 50%. If you suck, no one's listening. They're turning the album off. So we're gonna put you up there at 50%. Well, I actually value guitarists for rock up at 50% because without that riff that is hard hitting, incredibly fun to listen to, original, at least almost original, it's so hard to do. And yeah, like when I found Joe, for example, it was just like, okay, good. This is somebody I can push him, I can tell him I want more, or change that riff, do something different. Because that's the point you got to get to in probably most music genres, but I know rock. And like when we were with the session drummer in Toronto for the second album, he was like listening to the song and then he go, okay, so what if I do this chili pepper beat, but I mix it with this Metallica beat, and then together it sounds. You like that? Because that's never been done. And we're like, yes, of course we like it because you just combined two of our favorite bands of all time into one.
Exactly.
But that's the magic of music. And sometimes people don't like hearing that. They're like, oh, music's not original. It's like, well, it is, but there's only 8 notes. And so
Mm-hmm.
you have to get so good at it that you respectfully borrow. And then everybody respectfully borrows. And unless you're doing experimental music, and even that genre, I'll bet you have to
Oh yeah.
borrow from Frank Zappa or somebody,
Oh yeah.
because it's all been done in some capacity. So I want to talk about also, you're a DJ. Are you still a DJ at Chip Pontiac 1019
Yep.
FM?
Yep. Been
Sweet.
at Chip for what? Present show Fridays at 4 p.m. Yep, I'm at 4 p.m. now. Fridays at 4 p.m. Chip FM 109. I'm 480 shows in or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, so a good. What do we got? 56 weeks in a year or 65, whatever it is. Yeah, I've been there a while doing that show, but then I did another show called Musicology 101 for probably 7 years on that station before. that I wasn't actually getting paid for. I just did it because they're like, "Hey, you want some airtime?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah.
Then they started to actually listen to what I was doing and offered me a paying show, and I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll take it." And the great thing is when they offered me the paying show, they were like, they were like, "Okay, we want you to do a 3 hour show." I'm like, "Okay, but can I have 5 hours?" And they're like, "Well, we're only going to pay you for three." Well, can I have 5 hours? Okay, cool. I get paid for three of them, and I still get to be on for 5 hours.
That's so
But yeah, no,
awesome.
it's fun. It's a community station. They've treated me really well over the years. They leave me alone. They never make any. They never, like, aside from occasionally I have to fill out a list of for SOCAN about a couple times a year and just list what I played in that show kind of thing and make sure I play a whole lot of CanCon that week.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I don't anyway, but I don't want to get in trouble with SOCAN or anything like that. But they leave me alone. They let me do what I want. I'm how to say this? I'm intelligent about my musical choices. I will play songs with swearing in it, but I have a line. You know, like I'm not going to play dope die mf die or anything like that on station. But if it's got an f bomb or a shit or this, I'll play it. It's just, and no one's ever said a word to me. As a DJ on that station, I don't swear. I'm very respectable. On my own station, yeah, just listen sometime. It gets interesting. I don't care on my own station. I'll do whatever the hell I want. It's my own goddamn station. So, who's going to stop me? But on Chip, because it's respectable radio, and I have gathered a following, and it's great. I'm actually, in the last year, I've actually started hearing from people that listen every week, and they're reaching out on Facebook and other socials, and like, it's pre-taped, so I can't like take requests or anything like that. But I also can have people contact me during the week, and I can dedicate songs to people and stuff like that. Like there's a trailer park out here called Pinewood, and they literally, from what I understand, there's about 12 different trailers that turn my show on every Friday and just blast it. So there's like almost like 20 people at minimum listening to the show in the trailer park, and the rest of the trailer park just gets to listen anyway. And I
Awesome.
always give them shout outs, and they love it.
So you studied radio, TV, photography at Seneca College, and that's right, correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, I did a radio and TV stream where you do 2 years first year where they give you a bit of both, and then you specialize for your second year. And I went and took the TV stream for the second year. And actually,
Okay.
that there was no photography in that at all.
Oh,
I'm a,
interesting.
I'm 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 a completely self-taught photographer.
Very cool. Well, I took TV broadcasting in Algonquin, so we have that in common that we've both taken one of those courses. But I mean, I was silly because I took it in 2005. So I mean, it
Mhm.
was, I don't know. What happened was I was right at the time where the studio that I was learning at was changing over to high definition. So
Yep.
everything was different, and a lot of what I learned wasn't necessarily helpful to the future, because we were in this transitionary period. But what you
That's
gonna
funny
do?
that happened to you because the same thing happened to me. I was
Yeah,
there.
eh?
I was there in 92, 93, and they were just starting to change over to digital,
Ah,
and we were taught mostly on analog equipment, which I love the fact because like we were using like real oscilloscopes and stuff like that, like actual the stuff before everything went digital.
yeah,
And I have a cleaner understanding of everything because I was taught more manual things before everything went computerized.
yeah. Yeah, it was very confusing for me. I've never really been strong technically, but the program definitely helped me in that regard. The first year was very challenging that way for me because like the people who
Mhm.
had done volunteer work at like Rogers Station here in Ottawa, they were way ahead. They pretty much didn't really need the first year of the program because
Oh
they
yeah,
they've been doing it all. They've been doing it and doing it just by being a volunteer. So they've already learned so much of what they were teaching us. But a lot of TV, what I think they were teaching us was like humility, like get out there and rap a chord, rap it well. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like don't if you're lucky and you get a job, you're probably going to be rapping chords. So that's what you've got to be worried about, not
Learn
directing
the
the
skill
next.
now.
Yeah, don't worry about directing the next blockbuster picture back in the day, as we called it. But yeah, and that was the thing. Like Rogers and Blockbuster and all that was going away. The internet was becoming a bigger thing.
Mhm.
Everything was just rapidly changing. I think that'll be a big part of what they look at one day in the history books when they look back at us. They're gonna go like, "Wow, those people went from like this to that so fast," you know?
Oh yeah, and the thing is every time they do the shift from like whether like we talked about analog to digital to this to that is it was they went in full bore. It was like completely point and replaced with all this new stuff that nobody, well, maybe a small percentage of the population actually knows how to work at this point. Because that's the thing I found is I did a summer semester there because I got failed by in my radio class for arriving 5 minutes late on my final project, and I got docked. And basically, during the summer, they were starting to install a lot of the new stuff. So I can't remember what class it was, but I remember having a teacher. He's literally teaching with like the manual in one hand, and just kind of like, okay, this is a hold on. Like every 5 minutes, it was like, it's like, okay, you have no idea what you're doing. Why don't you just hand the manual to us? Like, seriously.
Oh gosh, I've been in a situation like that one time with like a math teacher back in high school. I took my first, like, I failed grade 9 math, the academic level, and I'd never failed anything at the Smarty Pants level before, and I went and I took the college level math course, and for grade 10, and this math teacher was like a supply teacher, and he was brand new, and they gave him in my class was like the meanest kids you could
Of
imagine,
course.
like the Bart Simpson's highest level. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And they ruined his life. And I couldn't believe it because I'd always been with these kids who are so like kissy kissy to the teacher. They want to get the good marks, they want to get the good grades. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden I'm with these kids who just they don't care. They knew what they were doing because this poor guy, like he'd come in the classroom, we were on the second floor, and this guy would be hanging out the window, but he's standing on a ledge. And it's only 2 floors up, and he'd be hanging out, and he'd go, Mr. Bryant, save me, save me. And he'd come running and like, oh God, and try and save him. Another day he came in late and the girls had covered the entire chalkboard with sex ed, but it looked like really good. Like they did an excellent job with the drawings, okay? And so he came in and they were like, today's sex ed, Mr. Bryant, you have to teach us all about sex ed. And he was like, oh, no one told me, but okay. Like he was just that gullible. So he ended up getting fired, and like the principal came in and like read us the riot act and was like, well, you're all getting 65%. I hope you're happy. And like we learned nothing, like we learned nothing. Oh,
Nice.
so that's my story there. I want to ask you, Mike, about if there's anything big coming up. Well, we know in September you've got the big show coming
Yep.
up. Are you going to record with Chi?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
We're going to be recording our first single probably in 2 to 4 weeks from now. We've already chosen which one it's going to be. It's a tune called Bus Stop, and
Nice.
it's actually the first. It'll be the first lyrical contribution by my drummer Stephen Anthony because he wrote the first verse of it, and just put to me and ran with it and wrote like 3, 4 other verses. And while we were jamming, came up with the chorus, and just we it's it wasn't the first song we started working on, but it was in the first like 3 songs kind of thing, and it just stood out. It's one that we actually have finished, and like we can sit there and play it beginning to end, no problem. We like it and stuff. But yeah. So first single coming out fairly soon, and yeah, album on the way. With physical copies on that, and it's the thing I love about starting a new musical venture is all the really really fun stuff you do right at the beginning. You get to do again,
Yeah.
you know, and you're already with people are cool. Like I haven't even mentioned him yet, but our bass player, and he's also going to be lead singer too. I'm going to be sharing lead singing duties with our bass player too. Dale Gagne was in my first band, AM Radio,
Oh,
and yeah, a little blast from the past, which was cool.
cool.
and he's been noodling on acoustic guitars for many years, but he hadn't been in a band in 8 years, and brought him over for a jam, and he hadn't literally picked up a bass in 8 years, and here we are, like 6 jams in, and we got about 12 songs on the go.
Awesome.
So that's exciting. That's definitely exciting. That's yeah. I'm really excited about where that's going to go, and yeah, what's 12 songs on the go, about six fully finished, and I think we have 5 gigs booked already.
That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really good to hear. I mean, oh yeah. When you got new music coming, there's like the only thing that feels better is releasing it. And then the only
Exactly.
thing that feels better than releasing it is people telling you they listen to it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so like it's so much fun. The whole chain of events is the best in my opinion. It's like the best
Well,
part about it.
we're indie musicians. You know as well as I do. The numbers, man, the numbers. When you see those numbers go up, it makes you feel so good.
Exactly. And we sacrifice. That's all. We sacrifice and we work hard and we love to share and who doesn't? It's a great experience. Will Summer Days, Whitewater Rocks will be back next year.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Definitely 25 version, like I mentioned here. We're still openly on the lookout for property. It'll probably still happen in White Pine Bison next year. I can see that happening because even if we get property between now and then, it's we're gonna have to do some clearing. We're gonna have to build a stage, build some infrastructure. It'll probably be a slower process than we want it to be, but we can at least start the process of that. But yeah, definitely Summer Days next year. I've been talking to the White Pine Bison people. My good friend Trish, you probably know her online. She was Sherry Loves Indie. Now she's Trish Loves Indie.
Cool.
Did amazing things for the brand and the festival this year. She's really done some like amazing marketing for us, and was out there at the festival picking through garbage cans, pulling out empties. Like what? How much more dedication can you ask for from somebody to that? Like,
That's what I was talking about, though. I picked up
yeah.
on that years ago, that your people really care, and that matters to the artists. I mean, I think it's like the most important thing is when they get there and they see like, oh, this festival cares. Everyone cares.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's more important than anything else. Than the number of people who show up. It's more important than anything. It's just how much people care and are there to make it a great experience because they want it to be. Yeah.
Exactly, and I get that too with the sponsors. I can remember back in 2019, I think it was about 3 bands in on the Friday. I was on the stage and I saw somebody coming up to the side there, called me over, and I can't remember specifically who it was, but it was one of my sponsors and one of my big sponsors. And they were like, "This is absolutely awesome! Thank you so much for involving us. We're in for next year." And I was just like, "Yes," and that keeps happening every year. Like when I start putting the stuff out there, it's like, "Hey, we're doing it again." I don't have to sell myself to 3/4 of the people I've been working with because they're just like, "Yep, we're in. Yep, we're in." It's like beautiful. You just took away like a good, probably 3 months of my legwork right there of running around selling myself, selling the festival, selling the concept, trying to, put everything together. And there's like, "No, we're in. We're good." That's amazing. Just the people that come out, because I have people that come out that like are volunteers. They get their weekend pass and they're not working the full time. I always make sure that I'm not abusing anybody in any way that is going to be nice to, support what I'm doing. And I have people out there I'm paying because they have, their specific jobs and this and that. And some of the jobs aren't the greatest jobs. So I feel bad handing them to volunteers. It's just like, this is kind of the worst job that has to be done here. Whether you're stuck at the gate in the evening portion selling the tickets and stuff like that, you can't see the show, you miss it completely. I'll pay those people. I got no problem doing that. But I have these wonderful volunteers that come and work during the day. Amanda and her husband come work during the day. I think they have to last 3, if not 4 festivals. They'll run the shift from like 10 p.m. in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, man in the front gate. They're volunteers. They still get to party at night. They keep coming back saying, they'll do it again. And those are my people. Those are the people I want around me.
Hell yeah, man. That's so good to hear. Where do the good people find Mega Mike if they want to tune in and hear some Mega Mike? Did they do it well, first of all, 1019 FM in the Pembroke area on Chip
Yep.
Pontiac. And
Yep.
what times does your show come on there?
On Chip, I'm on Fridays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Cool.
And like, yeah, that's on the FM, but it's also on the TuneIn app, which I
Oh,
know most
nice.
people are aware of. You just got to look it up under Chip Pontiac.
Cool.
And of course, Whitewater Rocks has its own radio station right on the actual website. And I'm on there on Thursdays, Sundays from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Just doing what I do. They don't really have a thematic element. I could start here and end up there, or, I just go on air and just play music and have fun.
Awesome. I know that the community appreciates and adores you, man. The work you do is seen, heard, appreciated. You are
Good to know.
loved.
Always good to hear. Like I'm here for
Absolutely.
music, plain and simple.
Hell yeah. And I can't wait to hear Chi and what you're going to do with that. Gosh, yeah. And the festival next year, I know it's going to be even bigger, even better than this year. And just thank you so much for coming on tonight, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And thank you out there for watching and hanging out with us. And we will see you next time on All Worn Out. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.